What is up, guys? Delboy here. So on the 27th of January, the World Boxing Super Series kicks off again with the first semi-final in the Cruiserweight tournament. We have Oleksandr Usyk versus Mairis Briedis. This fight is going to be a unification fight, and the winner obviously progresses to the final. Oleksandr Usyk is the WBO Cruiserweight champion, whereas Mairis Briedis is the WBC Cruiserweight champion. I really like this fight. In my opinion, these two guys are pretty much the number 1 and number 2 cruiserweights in the world. You'd have to rate Usyk as the number 1 with Briedis as the number 2. Interesting fight. Stylistically, I think the fight does favour Oleksandr Usyk for a few reasons. The first reason, Mairis Briedis, he last fought Mike Perez, who was a southpaw. Mike Perez is a guy who he's a good puncher. He's a guy who likes to get on in the mid range, let his hands go, work the body, and he tries to put his shots together and look for counters, kind of thing. But he's not exactly like a super fluid fighter. He's not got like blaring hand speed. He's not really that dynamic, and Briedis definitely struggled with a southpaw stance at times. He struggled to maintain a distance. He struggled to really know when to let his hands go, and he was clinching a hell of a lot in that fight, and he did struggle. He even admitted himself that the southpaw stance of Mike Perez gave him a lot of issues. I think that might have been the first southpaw he fought up until that point, and he said that it gave him a lot of issues. Now, if a rudimentary southpaw like Perez, who's okay, he's a solid fighter, if he can give Briedis trouble, then a guy like Usyk, who is a hell of a lot more dynamic, he's got quicker feet, he's got quicker hands, he puts his shots together, higher work rate, better punch variation. The guy is just better in every facet, to be quite honest. And if you're going to struggle with Mike Perez, then surely Usyk's southpaw style is going to give Briedis a few issues, to say the least. So the whole southpaw thing, especially when it's self-confessed, Briedis said he struggled with Perez. I do worry for him in that case. Another area where I think he could have a few issues is up close, like on the inside. Against Marco Huck and Mike Perez, and even Ola Duradola at stages, Briedis likes to hold when he gets too close. He can fight on the inside in terms of throwing shots, but he's not comfortable there. He can pick out some nice counters, especially that right uppercut, but he's not comfortable on the inside. When I see him on the inside, I always get the sense that he just doesn't want to be there, and that you could potentially overwhelm him if you get your shots off. And Usyk is very good at creating angles on the inside, taking a step around the target, looking for those sort of short shots on the inside. He can do that quite well. So when it is up close, I wonder how effective Briedis' holding is going to be, because, like I said, Usyk is bigger and he's actually accomplished on the inside. Mike Perez, to me, is not a good inside fighter. Marco Huck, he's a dirty fighter, but I don't think he's a particularly great inside fighter at all. So, to me, when it gets up close, it's going to be interesting, because Usyk is clearly the best inside guy that Briedis has fought. So yeah, I question how he's going to deal with that southpaw stance. I question how the fight is going to look when it's on the inside, and even when it's on the outside. The thing I've noticed is when it's on the outside, firstly, Usyk is going to have the quicker feet, and he's got the quicker hands. Also, he's got the higher punch output. Usyk does throw a hell of a lot of shots for a cruiserweight. His output is really good. When it's on the outside, don't be surprised to see Usyk peppering Briedis with jabs and just sort of light long shots to keep him at bay and pick up the points. We saw him do that in the Marco Huck fight at the start. He wasn't really putting pedal to the metal. He was just trying to keep it long, look for that jab, look for the long shots, and then slowly break his man down. So when it's on the outside, I can't really see Briedis outboxing Usyk for any great period of time. I just can't see him doing it for any long stretch. So I think on the inside, Usyk is clearly better, and Usyk is also a better boxer at range. Where Briedis has his chance, or where he has his best shot, it involves his timing. Because one thing about Briedis I've noticed, his timing is excellent. It really is. Look at the uppercut against Manuel Char on the back foot, right uppercut, knocked him out. That punch is incredibly hard to throw, let alone land, let alone knock somebody out. I don't know how many of you guys spar, but the next time you spar, try that shot. You probably end up getting yourself punched in the face, but try it. It's incredibly hard. An incredibly skillful shot to pull off. And that's what he's got in his repertoire. Even in the Mike Perez fight, although he was struggling at times, there are times when he was timing Perez with that right uppercut very, very well. And he's also got a lovely short chopping right hand that is hard to read and very quick. You know, to me, Briedis is a counterpuncher. He's not a brawler, he's not an inside fighter, he's not a boxer, he's a counterpuncher. Maybe a boxer-puncher is how you describe him. But his best chance is when Usyk, because there's times when Usyk does get a little bit excited where he'll have some success, he'll land some big shots, then he'll really let his hands go. In those exchanges, because Usyk, although he does have good punch technique, sometimes when he sort of puts a few shots together, sometimes the shots are a little bit wide, and it leaves room for that right uppercut down the middle. So to me, Briedis needs to look at the... I know this it's a totally different type of fight, but Danny Garcia versus Amir Khan. When Danny tried to box with Amir, he was coming off second best. But when Danny tried to counter in the exchanges, that's when he had his success. That's when he caught Khan with that big left hook. And that's what ended that fight. Briedis needs to attempt timing Usyk in the exchanges. You know, because like I said, in most Usyk fights, whether it be the Hunter fight, the Marco Huck fight, the Glowacki fight, you know, all of these fights, there are moments when Usyk gets in a rhythm and he really starts to put it on his opponents. You know, he kind of builds up momentum round by round by round. And there are times when he really lets his hands go. And like I said, there are openings in those moments, but it's whether Briedis can remain composed enough to pull those shots out, because he's going to have to get in the wheelhouse to do it. He's going to have to get in the mid-range. And the problem with that is obviously you're going to be taking big shots yourself. Another thing Briedis to me needs to do when the opportunities present themselves is go to the body of Usyk. He's the taller man, there's more body to aim at, you know. Usyk likes to use that high guard and, you know, try and get round it with those hooks, because against Huck, I felt the body shots from Briedis were very effective at times. They really slowed down Marco Huck, and there wasn't that same relentless aggression that Huck brings. I felt Briedis did a very good job of taming Marco Huck in that fight. Some of it was due to excessive holding, but also the body work was really, really effective in that fight. So I would like to see Briedis go back to that, try to work the body when the body is available to hit, and try to counter in the mid-range. When it's not in the mid-range and when you can't throw those body shots, what does Briedis have to do? To me, he needs to do what he does, use a high guard, try to draw the lead of Oleksandr Usyk, because like I said, you can't box to this guy. So try to draw the lead and look for counters, because Usyk is a very good boxer, like I said, but there are holes there occasionally. He likes to take risks. I feel he's very impulsive, and that's a good thing as a fan. I really like that, because I feel Usyk could make this fight boring. I feel he could box Briedis and keep it at range and make it a relatively uneventful fight, but that's not going to happen in my opinion. You know, there are times when Usyk just likes to express himself, and that's great to see. But that gives your opponents openings, and that's when Briedis really needs to get his work done. He needs to catch Usyk hard and ideally early, because he needs to make Usyk aware that he's in there with somebody. Because if Usyk feels he can style on you, it's going to be a long night. Just ask Marco Huck. But But don't rule out Mairis Briedis. He's a very good counter puncher, very good timing, like I said. But when you look at everything, you know, Usyk is quicker. He's better on the outside. He's better on the inside. He's got better legs. He's got a better punch variety. He puts his shots together better. You know, he's just a better boxer. He's just a better technician. He's just a better fighter. But Briedis has the power to trouble Usyk, and more importantly, he does have the timing. So Briedis, I know this term gets thrown around too often, but Briedis has a puncher's chance, in my opinion. I wouldn't be totally shocked if Briedis caught Usyk and just levelled him. It wouldn't be what I'm predicting, but I wouldn't be like super shocked about it, because I think his timing is that good at times. But ultimately, I feel that Usyk is going to get the job done here in foreign territory. He's going to win this fight based on his activity, and he's going to win it on points. Credit to Usyk for travelling abroad. I mean, this guy is really garnering a reputation for being a road warrior. He won his title in Krzysztof Glowaki's backyard in Poland. Krzysztof Glowacki is a strong puncher. He's a very aggressive, tough cruiserweight. That's a great win in Poland. He then defends his belt in America against Mchunu. Again, that's pretty much neutral ground for both of those guys. But he then fought again in America against Michael Hunter, again in Hunter's backyard. He then fought Marco Huck, ex-world champion, one of the standout names in the cruiserweight division. Fought him in his backyard in Germany and won. Now he's going to Latvia in Briedis' backyard. So you've got to commend that. Very few fighters are gonna do that. And listen, I don't believe many fighters when they say, I'd fight anyone, anywhere, any place, all that nonsense. But Usyk is one of these guys who I genuinely believe would fight anywhere, and he would fight anyone. So I've got a lot of respect for Usyk, and I think he wins this fight. What do you guys think? I think it's a really intriguing one because, like I mentioned, I expect Usyk to win. To me, he's just a better all-round fighter, but there's always going to be that sort of outside chance that Briedis lands that big right hand, whether it be the uppercut or the straight right. You know, there's always that chance. Really looking forward to this fight. I didn't actually realise that it was next weekend. I thought that the Murat Gasayev versus Junior Dotikos, I thought that fight was first in the cruiserweight tournament in the semi-finals, but it's a Usyk fight. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I will make my prediction on the Gasayev fight hopefully this week. That's another great fight. What do you guys think of this one? Are we underestimating Briedis a little bit too much, or do you believe with the consensus that Briedis is basically just a level below Usyk? What do you guys think? Peace.